Have you ever lost your favorite piece of clothing to a tear, a stain, or a lost button? All of us can help ourselves and the planet by mending our clothing. I taught myself to mend clothes about 5 years ago, and through practice, I've become proficient at it. Mending clothes is an ancient practice of restoring clothes and extending their longevity. If people learn to mend their clothes, they will help themselves be more self-sufficient, reduce their impact on the environment, and save money in the long run. If you want to help yourself and the planet, you should learn to mend your clothes. As written by Whitner in Forbes magazine circa 2019, the more you act in a self-reliant, independent way, the more certain you become of your own abilities. Think of how confident you felt on the day you got your license. How much of a rush do you get when you fix something that's broken or build something from scratch? Learning skills like cooking, mending, home repair, and so much more can boost our confidence in ourselves. All it takes is practice. Let me show you how to mend a torn seam. So I've taken a piece of string that is folded over on itself once and then knotted at the end. If your seam is here and your tear is there, you close it up so that it looks natural again. And when you start, you go through once. And on your first go through, you'll have to thread the needle through the two pieces of string that you have overlapped on themselves. To make your first knot. Then as you're going through, you don't want to go in circles because it'll simply unravel on you. So instead, you go back and forth. You start on this side, end on this side, then you go from this side, end on the other side, and you keep going back and forth like that instead of in circles. And when you're ready to stop, you make a loop and just make a simple knot. You don't need to go through the string when you're making these knots. I usually knot a couple of times just to make sure that it stays secure. And in no time, you'll have a closed seam. Not only can you improve yourself with mending, you can also reduce your impact on the environment. Anything that is not biodegradable makes an impact on the environment. Synthetic clothes are not biodegradable and will stay in landfills for long periods of time. Most people get rid of and buy at least a few pieces of clothing every year, and these numbers add up. Quote, "The loss of this generational skill speaks to the dominance of the culture of disposability which is upheld by the fast fashion system. This system produces artificially cheap clothes and encourages disposability over care." Hartentio, 2021. It is in the best interest of businesses to keep clothes expendable. They can sell products for more money over time this way. If demand for clothes is up, the price raises with it. If people learn to care for their clothes, they will break apart from this system and be independent of it. Saving the environment also saves people money. Quote, "Millennials and Gen Xers spent less on the things they needed to maintain their clothes than any other groups. Less than 1% of their clothing budgets on sewing supplies and tailoring over repair services." From Renter, 2017. Less importance has been put on mending clothes over the years. It's a skill my mother had, but was never passed down to me, because she worked almost constantly. Like my mother, recent generations have found themselves with less time to devote to skills like mending their belongings. People will prioritize their immediate needs over long-term gains when faced with the choice. It is cheaper to buy needles and thread than it is to buy a new item of clothing. You don't need a full sewing machine to mend things. It is easy to learn how to mend clothing, and clothes have only become more expensive as inflation increases. Mending your clothes can benefit humanity in so many ways. You can help yourself, the environment, and your wallet by mending your clothes. We can feel a connection to our clothes because we wear them every day. By practicing self-sufficiency, we can benefit ourselves in so many ways. If you love your clothes, mend them.